Hey there, chemistry students. Welcome to Educate. We are still doing electrophilic aromatic substitution reaction. Today we'll be doing the nitration of benzene. Now, previous videos we've already done the halogenation. Make sure that you watch and understand the principles there. So basically, when we're talking about nitration of benzene, we are actually reacting benzene ring with nitric acid or nitric acid, which is HNO3, and this is done in the presence of sulfuric acid, which is H2SO4, whereby the sulfuric acid is actually acting as a catalyst that is actually facilitating the reaction in one way or the other. So basically, in diagrammatic ways, we are actually taking a benzene ring and we are reacting it with this nitric acid, which is HNO3, and then the reagent, which is catalyzing this reaction, it is H2SO4. Then the temperature that we usually use is 50 to 55 degrees Celsius. So we must actually have heat for this one because this is a very hot temperature. Okay, at least it's above a human body temperature. Then the product, the main product that we are looking for, or the major product, it is nitrobenzene. Basically, it's a benzene ring, but it is now bonded to NO2. Then we're having two byproducts, which is H3O plus and HSO4 minus, right? So this benzene ring, basically, it has got a hydrogen at this particular position. You need to know always that each and every benzene ring, it consists of 6 hydrogens around it. So it means there's a hydrogen here, there's a hydrogen here, there's a hydrogen here, here, and here, and here. So each benzene ring consists of 6 hydrogens, but now I'm only going to draw this one because it is the one that we're going to replace with an NO2 group. So if you watch carefully here, you can see that this is a benzene ring having a hydrogen at this particular position. But after reacting with HNO3 in the presence of H2SO4, we actually end up having NO2 instead of hydrogen. So we have replaced H with NO2. So we have substituted, okay, we have substituted nitro, which is we have substituted a NO2 for hydrogen. Oh, okay, I don't know if the English makes sense, but basically we have replaced H with NO2. All right, so instead of having H here, we now have NO2. So that's why we say it's known as electrophilic aromatic substitution. So we will look at a detailed mechanism. How do we end up displacing this hydrogen and replacing it with a nitro group, which is an NO2 group? Now let's look at the full reaction mechanism for this nitration of benzene. Remember that when we are doing electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions, we need a nucleophile as well as an electrophile. When we're looking at the benzene ring always acts as a nucleophile. Don't forget that always the benzene ring, it always acts as a nucleophile. Remember, the duty of the nucleophiles, it is to give electrons. They are the ones that donate electrons, or they are the ones that have got an extra pair of electrons and they're able to make a bond using that extra pair of electrons. So in this particular case, for us to end up having this nitro group bonded to this benzene ring, we are going to use a bond, a pair of electrons from the benzene ring. That's why it is nucleophilic, because it is an electron-rich type of substance. Whereas an electrophile, it is an electron-poor type of substance. It is electron poor. So it simply means that it doesn't have any excess electrons, okay? It doesn't have any electrons. It is actually having a shortage of electrons. So here, how do we actually end up having a nucleophile and an electrophile? Because in this case, you can see that we do have the nucleophile, it is the benzene ring, but we don't really have an electrophile here. And by the way, if you take a proper look here, we want to actually put a nitro group, which is the NO2 group. We want to put a nitro group, but the reagent that we are using is HNO3. This is NO3, so we're having a 1 nitrogen and 3 oxygens and then an extra hydrogen, but we only want some NO2 here. How do we end up generating a nitro group so that it can react with this nucleophile? So the first step here, remember, it is to generate an electrophile. So let's do it. Let's generate an electrophile. Generate an electrophile. So we want to generate this NO2 group. So how can we generate our electrophile? We have to show using reaction mechanisms a notation. So this HNO3, we need to draw it. Remember, the HNO3, which is the nitric acid, it has got this Lewis structure. We have got a nitrogen here as a central atom. Then we have got a double bond to an oxygen having 2 lone pairs of electrons, because oxygen must must have eight electrons around it. Then we have got another oxygen but having a single bond, and this oxygen has got three lone pairs of electrons, but it has got a negative formal charge. All right, please go and revise your organic chemistry 1 from first year level. You will understand that basically when this oxygen is only single bonded to the nitrogen, it must acquire a negative formal charge. All right, and then we are also having what? We are also having an OH group here. So we are going to have an OH group. So this is oxygen hydrogen group, which is the hydroxyl group. So this is the structure of the nitric acid. Remember, what do we need to convert this nitric acid to? We want this nitric acid to be NO2. Okay, we want it to be NO2. We want it to be a nitro group so that we can bond it with this benzene ring so that we can end up having nitrobenzene. We want NO2 here, but here in this particular structure, we have got how many oxygens? 3 oxygens, and we also have got a hydrogen. We only need 2 of them, so there must be a way to kick out this OH group. If we kick out this OH group, imagine, let's just say we kick out this OH group. If we just kick it out in some way, let's just say we just minus this OH group, what would happen? We'll remain with NO2. That's what we want. But OH group is not a good living group. You need to remember that. So we cannot just kick it out easily in such a way. So we will require this sulfuric acid, this H2SO4, to be able to make the job easier for us to remove this OH. So if we just remove this OH group, we'll end up with the NO2, which is what we require to have bonded to our benzene ring. So basically, let's use our sulfuric acid to be able to do that. So let me just rewrite this. This was OH. Then we had 2 lone pairs of electrons. So our sulfuric acid, we also need to draw its structure. Remember, its structure has got an H here. Then this is an O. This is 2 lone pairs. Then we have got a sulfur, then double bond oxygen, having 2 lone pairs as well. Then double bond another oxygen. You need to count the number of oxygen. Remember, there are 4 of them, right? And this oxygen is having also a 2 lone pairs. Then we have got an OH group as well, which is just the hydroxyl group. Okay. So now what will happen here? We have to look at this. Why did we even use H2SO4? It is because we actually want to kick out this OH, right? And we cannot kick out this OH because OH is not really a good living group, okay? By the way, here there's a positive formal charge on the nitrogen, so that this can be neutral as a whole. Because there's a positive and a negative, this HNO3 is a neutral acid. It's a compound per se. So basically, when we compare the strength of these 2 acids, this is nitric acid, and nitric acid is a weak acid, okay? Nitric acid is a weak acid. When we compare it to sulfuric acid is a strong acid, okay? So we can say that sulfuric acid is a stronger acid than the weaker acid, which is nitric acid. All right. So you need to remember the property, the Lewis property, the Louis-Bronsted property of acids is that they are proton donors, right? They donate protons, or they give protons to particular substances that are weaker. So in this case, we're having a weak acid and we're having a strong acid. Which one is more likely to donate a proton? It is the what? It is the strong acid. So this strong acid, which is the sulfuric acid, is more likely to give away its hydrogen to the weaker acid. That's what we were taught in high school. When you are being taught in high school, you are told that an acid is an proton donor. Okay, it donates a proton, but in actual reality, the base, it is the one that takes the proton away from the acid. Okay, in terms of reaction mechanism, that's how it works. But in essence, we're trying to say that a strong acid will be the one that will donate a proton to the weaker acid. So the weak acid is acting more of like a base. Alright, it is acting like a base because it's weak, but the strong acid is acting as an acid because it's giving the proton. But in actual fact, using a reaction mechanism notation, we would say that this oxygen on this weaker acid, on this nitric acid, this oxygen is slightly basic because it's having a lone pairs of electrons. So it is willing to take away a proton from the hydrogen. It is able to take away a proton from the hydrogen. Remember, we're not talking about taking away a proton here. We just simply mean that it has got a lone pairs of electrons, and those lone pairs can form a bond with the hydrogen. Okay, and by the way, you can see that this hydrogen is already bonded to the oxygen, but we know that oxygen is more electron negative. So this oxygen is already pulling away electrons towards itself. So the bond between this hydrogen and this oxygen have to break down, because now this hydrogen has been taken away by the weaker acid. So basically the bond between this H and this O, it has to break. And when it breaks, basically the electrons of the bond will have to go to oxygen. Why? Is because oxygen is electronegative. Remember that oxygen is more electronegative when you compare it to hydrogen. So whenever this hydrogen gets a chance to leave this bond, okay, whenever this hydrogen gets a chance to leave this bond and go to the weaker acid, remember this arrow is just trying to say that these are electrons that are going to take away a certain substance here. Okay, so these electrons coming from the oxygen having two lone pairs of electrons, it shows that these lone pairs of electrons, they want to take away a hydrogen, but this hydrogen is already bonded to this oxygen. So what will happen? Since each and every bond consists of two electrons, the two electrons of this bond will have to move to oxygen, because oxygen is more electron negative. Oxygen is more electron pulling compared to hydrogen. So basically this is what will happen. So now after that, we'll have a structure like the following. So now when we have this structure, we're still going to have our oxygen here. Then this oxygen, it is having a 3 lone pairs of electrons, so it is having a negative formal charge. Then we are having a nitrogen here. Then this is a double bond oxygen here having 2 lone pairs of electrons, right? And then now we're having an oxygen, right? We had a hydrogen at first, but now we'll have another hydrogen here. Okay, then we only have 1 lone pair. But let's look at this carefully. All right, so basically what happened, this oxygen had 2 lone pairs of electrons. It used one of its lone pair to abstract an electron from the stronger acid. That's why we are seeing a bond between the oxygen and another proton. So this H, or this proton, is actually coming from this strong acid, this particular one. Okay, but now since it used 1 lone pair, here we had 2, right? So we'll only remain with 1. But now this oxygen is now having 3 bonds, and these 3 bonds, you know that it's not acceptable for oxygen to have 3 bonds, right? So if you calculate the formal charge properly, then you will understand that this oxygen will have a positive formal charge. And once this oxygen has a positive formal charge, it is very unstable. It cannot be stable having a positive formal charge. But anyways, let's just write what happens to the strong acid. The strong acid has lost a proton, so we won't have a proton H anymore here. Instead, we'll just have oxygen here, and this oxygen will have how many lone pairs of electrons? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and if you look carefully here, this oxygen here that was bonded to the hydrogen that was taken away, basically it had 2 lone pairs of electrons, but it will gain another lone pair of electrons from where? From this bond between H and O. So that's why this oxygen is now having 3 lone pairs of electrons, and then that will result this oxygen bonded to this sulfur S, and then this sulfur, it is still bonded to this. Nothing changed here on the other side, so this is still OH. Then we are still having 2 lone pairs here. This is still double bond oxygen. We are still having 2 lone pairs, but this oxygen, guess what happened to the oxygen? This oxygen here will have a negative formal charge, because oxygen cannot only have 1 single bond. Oxygen carries double bonds, so that it will have a full good structure. So this is now having a negative formal charge. All right, so this is what we are having. So we have Are we done generating the electrophile? Let's look at this carefully. Remember, what is our whole aim, or what is our whole purpose of using this strong acid, which is sulfuric acid? It is so that we can just kick out this OH, because OH is not a good living group. You already know that, right? OH is not a good living group. So you cannot just kick out OH and just remain with this NO2 and react it the way you want. No. Okay, so first of all, we had to react with the proton, so that this one is more unstable. It just wants to leave the bond. Let's see, what do I mean by more unstable? So let's continue with this particular product, having this oxygen that is having a negative formal charge. So this is oxygen, then this is a nitrogen having a positive formal charge, then double bonded to oxygen having a 2 lone pairs of electrons. Then now what will happen? Let's just redraw this. This is oxygen having a positive formal charge. This is hydrogen. This is hydrogen. Okay, So this is the complex that we have formed when we reacted this weak acid and the strong acid. Okay, so what will happen now? You can see that we're having OHH. This is H2O. H2O is a good living group. So if we actually kick out this H2O, imagine if we remove O and H and H, we'll only remain with NO2, which is exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. We want to have NO2 that is bonded to benzene ring. That is nitropenzene. That's nitropenzene. That's what we are looking for in this particular reaction. That's the purpose of the reaction. So we are trying to generate that NO2 as our electrophile. That's why I said here we are generating an electrophile. But in the initial phase, using nitric acid, you cannot just kick out this OH group, because OH is not a good living group. It is not weakly basic. OH is not a good living group. You cannot just kick it out. So you have to first react to the strong acid and acquire a proton. The moment you are acquiring a proton like this to this HNO3, this will be now a good living group. Now this is a good living group. If we kick out this OH2, this H2O basically, then we'll remain with NO2. If you see this carefully, all right. So basically you can see that this oxygen is already bonded to this nitrogen. So now which one will take the electrons? Where will the electrons actually go here? Because basically for us to kick out this whole portion, which is H2O, we need what? We need to break the bond between this oxygen and this nitrogen. Because I mean, you cannot kick out this H2O without breaking this particular bond. And each bond has got 2 electrons. Whenever we break a bond, those electrons must go somewhere. And we have said that they always go to the element or to the substance that is more electronegative. That's what electronegativity means. It is the tendency to pull a bonding pair of electrons towards itself. So in this particular case, the bond between nitrogen and oxygen, when we compare the electronegativity of nitrogen and the one of oxygen, the one of oxygen is more electronegative. The oxygen is actually more electronegative when we compare it to what? When you compare it to nitrogen. So it means that the electrons of this bond, when it breaks, because this OH2 is a good living group, it can just leave and take away the electrons. And oxygen here is electronegative, so it will take away the electrons of this bond. So we must draw an arrow to indicate that the electrons of this bond, they are going to the oxygen. And when they go to the oxygen, it means that we don't actually have this bond anymore. So what will we have? We will have this oxygen, and this oxygen here, what can we see with this oxygen? This oxygen here, what will it do? Okay, let's first observe one more thing here. This oxygen here is negatively charged. It is having a negative formal charge, right? This oxygen here is having a negative formal charge. So what will happen? Since this oxygen is having a negative formal charge, it means it has got an extra pair of electrons. Okay, this is 2, 4, 6. Oxygen must have a double bond and 2 lone pairs of electrons so that it can be neutral. Look at this oxygen here. It's having a double bond and it's having 2 lone pairs of electrons. This is a neutral oxygen. So this one will try to neutralize itself during the reaction. So by that sense, we just mean that it will use one of its lone pair of electrons to make a bond with the nitrogen here, so that this will be a double bond instead. Because here you can see that this nitrogen is bonded to this oxygen that is negatively charged by a single bond. But this oxygen carrying a negative charge, it is not desirable. Alright, so as we are kicking out this other bond, this one will get a chance to bond with the nitrogen. And when it bonds with the nitrogen, let's just redraw that as a proper structure. So when it rebonds with the nitrogen, we'll have a nitrogen here, we'll have that double bond oxygen, the one that we didn't affect at all, this one, we didn't do anything to it. Then this one, we'll now draw it here because of repulsion theory, okay? You need to remember that basically these two things repel each other, okay? So this is this oxygen, it has given away one of its electrons to form a double bond. Here is the double bond. This is the oxygen. We draw it down here. We don't draw it here anymore because it will be repelling with this one. That's how the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory works. You've learned this in your grade 11 already. So basically, that's what we're talking about here. So this oxygen here, it will do what? It will give its bond to the nitrogen so that the nitrogen will remain with the same positive formal charge here. The nitrogen still has the formal charge that is positive. Okay, and then here, what will be our result? You can see that we've kicked out H2O here. So this will be plus H2O. Okay, this is plus H2O. So this is plus H2O. This is plus. When we look at here carefully, we're having sulfur here. Remember, this is still in our reaction mixture, but in this step we didn't use it. So this sulfur with how many oxygens? 1, 2, 3, 4, with 4 oxygens and 1 hydrogen. It is still a substance within the reaction mixture. It's still HSO4, but here you can see that there's a negative formal charge on the oxygen. So this is HSO4 minus. So this is what we are still having in our reaction mixture. Do you realize that here we have successfully generated our electrophile? This is the electrophile that we desired. The electrophile, which is NO2, this is nitrogen with bonded to 2 oxygens. That's the electrophile that we're looking for. Now we can now take this electrophile. So this is my electrophile. I will write this as my electrophile. So this is my electrophile. We have successfully regenerated basically an electrophile, which is NO2, which is what we want to put here. This is NO2, guys. You can see that, right? So now let's react our NO2, which is our electrophile, react it to the nucleophile, which is the benzene ring, so that we can do what? We can do some electrophilic aromatic substitution reaction, right? So in this case, we're going to take our benzene ring and react it with our electrophile. So this is continuing. This is our benzene ring. So our benzene ring is here and it's having a bond here, double bond here, double bond here. Remember that this benzene always have a hydrogen here. It has got 6 hydrogens, but we only draw 1 that will be substituted. Then remember that our electrophile that we are now having, let me just not write a plus anymore. So we are actually having our electrophile, which is nitrogen. So there is nitrogen here, oxygen here, having 2 lone pairs of electrons, and another oxygen here, having 2 lone pairs of electrons. So this is the kind of an electrophile that we have developed. It's an electrophile because here we're now having a positive charge. Now you can see that this nitrogen is now more positive because this oxygen is pulling electrons away from it. This oxygen is also pulling electrons away from it. So this is NO2 plus, NO2 plus. It's an electrophile. So what will happen? Remember that the benzene ring, it uses one of its double bond to bond with the electrophile. So basically, we take this bond, then we bond with this nitrogen. So here, basically, instead of breaking other bonds, we only break the double bond that we are seeing here. We break the double bond here. Its electrons will be used to bond with what? With the nitrogen, because this nitrogen is electrophilic. Okay, it's an electrophilic nitrogen. It's lacking electrons. It is having a shortage of electrons. So basically, if we do that, we'll get this following result. So the result for that will be a benzene ring. So this will be a benzene ring, and then now we're having a double bond here, we're having a double bond here, but this one will not have a double bond anymore. Remember that we have broken the double bond here, so we won't write the double bond anymore. I won't draw the double bond anymore, chemistry students. So here at this point, we're having this hydrogen. The hydrogen is still there. Okay, it doesn't just fade away, okay, but we're now having an NO2 group, our nitro group. So I am not going to draw the full structure. I'm just going to write NO2 here, because remember that this is just N having 2 oxygens. So this is NO2, right? So it's fine. So I've bonded this carbon here will bond to this NO2 using which electrons? Using the electrons from this bond. Remember that each and every bond, it carries 2 electrons, chemistry students. Each and every bond carries 2 electrons. So basically, if we're having 2 electrons in this bond, those electrons will be used to form a bond between this nitrogen and this carbon at this point. So this carbon here is forming a bond with this NO2 and is forming a bond with this hydrogen, which was already there. But look at what happens here. What about the other carbon that was part of this double bond? When we're here at this point, this carbon here was perfectly neutral. It was fine. It was neutral because it had 4 bonds around it. We can count them right now. It is having 1 bond here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So it means it has got a hydrogen here. Remember, right? So this carbon had 4 bonds. It was perfectly fine. But now this carbon has been taken away from 1 bond. So we've taken away 1 bond from it. So it will now become positively charged. So we'll have a positive formal charge here. Please revise all your notes on formal charges. Okay, Formal charges, they explain the state. Is it neutral? Is it positively charged, or is it negatively charged? Basically, carbon must have 4 bonds around it. You know that carbon must have 4 bonds around it. So there was a hydrogen here. So it was 4 bonds around this carbon highlighted in green. But because we've broken one of the bonds, it's only remaining with 3 bonds, chemistry students. So basically, if it is remaining with only 3 bonds, it will be positively charged. It is a formal positive charge. Okay, so this is what we have. This is an rhenium ion that we have. We say this is known as an rhenium ion. So this rhenium ion, it can undergo some resonance. Basically, these bonds can just shift each other, and this charge can shift, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to take this rhenium ion. Remember that we say that the product of nitration, any reaction with benzene, it must always yield a product, and that product must also be an aromatic ring. It must still be an aromatic ring. It must have the same bonds as before. Look at this first one. It is having a double bond here, here, and here. Look at this one, double bond here, here, and here. Look at what we have. We are missing a double bond here, so we need to regenerate it in some way. We need to regenerate the aromaticity. Remember that always during electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions, the final product must always be aromatic like the initial product. If you don't know what aromaticity is, check out my videos on that. Okay, so basically this nitrobenzene, we need it to be aromatic. We need a bond here, but where will it come from? We will use the reagents that we have in the mixture already. We have got other reagents in the mixture. We've got H2O, we've got HSO4 minus. They don't just disappear, guys. They are still there. Those are still reagents that we still have. So we've got H2O here. Let's just write this H2O. This H2O has an ability to take away this proton. Okay, so we'll take this rhenium ion. So this is my rhenium ion from the benzene ring. Then this is this double bond, then this is positive charge, then this is NO2, then here we are having a hydrogen. Then remember that in the mixture we're having H2O in the mixture, in the reaction mixture. H2O, the one that we have kicked out during the electrophile generation, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is H2O. All right, so now what will happen? This H2O, it will see that this rhenium ion is positively charged, so it will attempt to take away a proton from this rhenium ion, so that this rhenium ion will remove this positive charge. Okay, we don't want this positive charge on the benzene ring. But if you take a look here, this hydrogen that is being taken away is already bonded to this carbon. So what will happen to the bond between this carbon and this hydrogen? Because each bond, remember, it consists of 2 electrons. So where will those electrons go? So those electrons between that bond, they will move from the bond and they will form a double bond once again there, so that they can remove that formal charge that is positive. So this will just give us something like this. So this will give us our benzene ring. You can see that now we are now having a double bond here, we're having a double bond here, we're now having a double bond here. Where did this double bond come from? This one, where did it come from? It was actually transferred. Remember, there was a bond between hydrogen and carbon, but because H2O is taking away the hydrogen, the bond between carbon and hydrogen will break and will form another bond here, so that we can remove this positive formal charge. Basically, when we're having something that is positively charged, it means that it has got an extra proton. So we need to deprotonate it. We need to take away the proton from it. Guys, this is common sense now for chemistry students. When something is having a positively charged, it means that it is protonated. It has got an extra proton. And usually the proton is the hydrogen atom, is the hydrogen ion, I mean. It's a proton basically. So the bond between this H and this carbon will break because we're taking away the hydrogen, right? This oxygen will use its lone pairs to take away the hydrogen. So this bond between carbon and hydrogen, it will have to break, and the electrons of the bond, they will form another bond here between this carbon having a positive formal charge and this carbon here. And in this case, we'll regain our double bond here, but we'll remain with our NO2. Plus here, this water, this H2O will now have H, oxygen, H, you draw it in the right way, but basically this is H, but now we are having 3 O's. Okay, we're having 3 O's. Basically, we're having 3 O's. Basically, this is H3O, but this will be H3O plus, because remember that oxygen cannot really have 3 bonds. Okay, so this will now be H3O plus. And then, yeah, we're done. And remember that in the reaction mixture, we still have got HSO4 minus. We didn't use it. Okay, still there. So we can just write it to say that in our reaction mixture, we still have got HSO4 minus. So do you realize that here we have actually turned the benzene ring into nitrobenzene? Okay, we have turned it into nitrobenzene using HNO3 using H2SO4. Okay, so basically the steps, you start here. Don't forget, the benzene ring is always the nucleophile during all the electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions. Then we need to generate an electrophile. In this case, we needed an NO2 group. So we need to generate an NO2 group from this HNO3. We need to actually remain with only N and 2 oxygens, only those two, N and 2 oxygens as our electrophile, alright? But now there's an OH here, and OH is a bad leaving group, so it cannot just leave so that we can remain with NO2 the way we want. So we need to react this with a stronger acid. By recognizing that nitric acid is weaker, we react with a stronger acid. When we react with a stronger acid, we know that the weaker acid has an ability to take away a proton from the stronger acid, guys. I repeat again, but this stronger acid, each hydrogen, its proton or its hydrogen is already bonded to the oxygen, so the bond will break and the electrons will go to the oxygen. Then that's how we are creating the HSO4 minus. This is HSO4 minus. But now you can see that now we're having these products. Now this one is better to use because this H2O, this OHH, is a good leaving group. You need to remember that if you're doing a substitution reaction, it's a good leaving group, this one. So it has an ability to leave. And if it leaves, we will remain with NO2, which is what we want exactly, which is our electrophile that we need to just substitute and put it here on the benzene ring and create nitrobenzene, all right? But now, because there's a bond between oxygen and nitrogen, this single bond will break down. And when it breaks, the electrons will go to oxygen because the oxygen is more electron negative, all right? But now this nitrogen is losing a bond, so this oxygen will save the day and donate its one extra pair of electrons to form a double bond here. So we're now having a double bond, but we're having a positive formal charge on the nitrogen. Then we're having H2O, we're having HSO4 minus. This is now our electrophile, NO2. This is what we want to put on the benzene ring and is positively charged. We can now react it to the benzene ring. We take our benzene ring, it acts as a nucleophile, we react with the NO2 plus. And then we take the electrons of the benzene ring from one of the pi electrons in these double bonds and we bond it to this nitrogen. So now we take the NO2 and put it here. There's a hydrogen still here. But this carbon here, it has lost one bond, so it will have a formal charge, a positive formal charge. So this is now known as an rhenium ion. I repeat, it's an rhenium ion. So on this rhenium ion, what will happen? In our reaction mixture, we still have H2O. Remember, we generated H2O here. This is our H2O that we generated. We still have it in our reaction mixture. So this H2O has a capability of deprotonating the rhenium ion, of taking away the proton. Why is it taking away the proton? Because this is positively charged. Things that are positively charged, they don't really exist in nature. Compounds are neutral. So for something to be neutral, it must be zero charged. So this one is positively charged. So they need to take away the proton from it. So this H2O will deprotonate, take away this proton. But this proton or this hydrogen is already bonded to this carbon. What will happen to the bond? The bond will shift and form another bond here, forming a double bond again, regaining the aromaticity of this benzene ring. So this benzene ring is now aromatic again, is now fully conjugated again, but is now having an NO2 group, is now nitrobenzene. But we will also have byproducts, which is H3O plus, that's H3O plus. Then another byproduct, which is HSO4 minus, the one that we have generated at first, but it didn't do anything for the rest of the reaction. Thank you so much for watching this video, a wonderful chemistry students. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends also. Stay tuned.